In this video, we are going to talk about Ketu's transit into the sign of Libra for all the ascendants. So keep watching. Namaste and welcome to Pramanik Astrology channel. I'm your host Prasad Mahazani. Help you raise your vibrations and become your true self with the help of Vedic astrology. Ketu is changing sign from Scorpio to Libra in the month of April. We already talked about this change with respect to Rahu. We talked about Rahu in Aries, transit of Rahu in Aries for all the ascendants. Now we are going to talk about the effect of Libra, transit of Libra for all the ascendants. Let's get started. What is the sign of Libra? Libra is the sign of balance. Libra is an air element sign, socially oriented sign, which is the root of the air element. Okay, and this root of air element is ruled by Venus. Okay, and Libra is also a sign which is a Chara sign, which brings in movement in one's life. Okay, so keep this context in mind when we discuss the Ketu transit through the sign of Libra. What is the planet Ketu? Ketu is a planet which is an introvert planet. Ketu is a backward planet. When I say backward, it dwells into the past. That's why it is an orthodox planet. It is a conservative spiritual planet which does not have head and which is an internalized energy. Rahu is an head, which is a futuristic planet, which is always thinking about beyond the time and the foreign things which are taboo. Now, Ketu is a planet which is conservative, backward looking, orthodox and spiritual. Exactly opposite to Rahu and into 180 degrees. Rahu is transiting into the sign of Aries and Ketu is always 180 degrees from Rahu, and it is into the sign of Libra through the nakshatras of Vishakha and Swati. What happens when you have Ketu in the sign of Libra? Ketu in the sign of Libra in a Rashi which is ruled by Venus, which tries to balance between their needs. Ketu into the sign of Libra always is concerned about their desires, and it also considers their desires with respect to their life. What do I mean by that? They always reanalyze their desires and see if they are valid. Okay, and they always keep on analyzing their needs and what needs to be done in order to get those needs fulfilled. Okay, so Ketu is the planet which is about mastering things. So Ketu in the sign of Libra try to master the needs because it is ruled by Rashi of Venus, which is all about your desires. Now the person has a tendency to ignore their desires. So they have a lot of wishes and desires which are unfulfilled because they think it is difficult to get those things met. Okay, so this is the background and context of Ketu into the sign of Libra. Ketu into the sign of Libra also shows the absolute things in one's life. And when it is in Libra, it is about the desires. Let's talk about all the ascendants. For Aries Ascendant, Ketu is transiting from the 7th house of the horoscope. When I say Aries, you can consider it both Aries Ascendant and Aries Moon. Okay, but Moon is more relevant because Moon is the planet which is all about your mind, which decides your choices and influences your destiny to larger extent. Okay, so yes, Moon in Aries, or you have Aries Ascendant. So now this transit of Ketu will be from the 8th house of Scorpio, 8th house to the 7th house. Okay, so you will have Rahu Ketu into the axis of 1-7. We already talked about Rahu. So Ketu in the 7th house will make you evaluate your relationships once again. It will make you think about what you really need in partnership, what you seek in the relationship, and sometimes it will also make you think about the ways to get the needs fulfilled. Let's say you're looking for a partner, and now when Ketu transits through the 7th house, you will evaluate your needs, you evaluate your desires around the partnership, which will help you to attract better relationships. Okay, but at the same time, Rahu in the ascendant will make you work on the self. Okay, so the moment you work on the self, the evaluation of the 7th house Ketu will also help you to get better partnerships. So 1-7 axis will help you to get the better relationships in your life. Taurus Ascendant. For Taurus Ascendant, Ketu is going into the 6th house, Rahu is going into the 12th house. 12th house is the house of foreign things. Rahu is the planet of foreign things. And 6th house is the house of your continuous efforts. And Ketu is a headless planet, which is a workaholic planet. So during this time, Taurus Ascendant people will work relentlessly, and they will also evaluate their nutrition. This is the time when Taurus people, Taurus Ascendant, Taurus Moon people will evaluate their nutrition, whether they are taking the right supplements, whether they are eating fruits, whether they are having protein intake, whether they have all the antioxidants, whether they are having good water. They will consider all these things during this time. Let's talk about the Gemini Ascendant. For Gemini Ascendant, Ketu is in the 5th house. The Ketu in the 5th house makes these people evaluate their way of expression. 5th house is the house of your innermost desires. It is also about your expression. So what happens is when Ketu comes into the 5th house in transit, these people, the Gemini Moon, Gemini Ascendant people, will evaluate their expression. They will evaluate the way they express themselves. And this is the time to explore. The 11th house Rahu will pull this Ketu out of its comfort zone and will help him to connect with a lot of people. And now there will be challenges initially because you will be pulled out of your comfort zone and connected with the larger organizations during this time. Maybe you got a new job. Maybe you are connected with a new friend who is conducting a spiritual practice like yoga or meditation, and now you're loving it, but that is out of your comfort zone. Now you face the expression problem. Now you are not able to express yourself. But this is the time for growth. So when Ketu will finally move out of this 5th house from Libra to Virgo, you will experience this. You by that time you must have mastered that art of expression. So expression is the key for Gemini Moon, Gemini Ascendant. Let's talk about the sign of Cancer. For Cancer, Ketu is transiting through the 4th house. 4th house is the house of emotions, and Ketu is a planet of perfection and absolutes. So these people have a challenge around their emotions. They can manipulate their own emotions to feel in certain ways. Ketu in the 4th house upholds and uptides the emotion. They have to release it. They have to embrace their real emotions and open their heart. And once they open their heart, they will attract abundance and they will attract the emotional stability. Okay, and now here Ketu will evaluate one's emotion. Ketu will evaluate the way one feels. So Ketu in the 4th house is all about your emotions and mastering your own emotions and evaluating the needs and how to fix that. Leo Ascendant, Leo Moon, Ketu is transiting through the 3rd house. 3rd house is the house of your heart wish, your hobbies, your self-effort, your siblings, your courage. Ketu is the planet of absolutes, and Ketu in Libra evaluates your self-effort. Now in this axis, the 3rd 9 axis is the axis of self-effort and the higher belief, right? You have to do certain things in life, and before doing that, you have to believe that it will work. Okay, you have to believe that. That's the Rahu in the 9th house part. So once you believe in the unknown and take the effort, then you know whether it will work or not. So Ketu in the third house will help you evaluate your self-effort in the newly found belief. You will have certain new beliefs in your life. You started learning something new in your life. You believed in certain things in life, and now you have to put in effort. Now, Ketu in the Libra sign in the third house will help you put that effort into that direction, will help you evaluate your self efforts to understand that. Let's say you are started reading about the Bhagavatam, or maybe you started reading about the Vedas, or you started getting attracted towards the Bhakti marg, and you are always taking an effort into that direction. That's a leap of faith, okay, and which is backed by the efforts. This will bring in miracle into your life. Now let's talk about the Virgo sign. The sign of Virgo, the Ketu transits through the second house of Libra. For Virgo sign, Virgo moon sign, Virgo ascendant, Ketu transits through the second house. Second house is the house of resources and things which really value. And Libra Ketu transiting through the second house of your horoscope makes you evaluate what you need in your life. Ketu transiting through the second house of Virgo sign through the Libra makes you evaluate your resources, your tangible resources, and also about your nutrition, the things you feed into yourself, right? These are the nourishments you provide to the self. The first house, second house supports the first house. That's why second house is about the family, food, resources, immediate resources, and now it supports the first house. So Ketu in the second house makes you evaluate all these second house significations of family, nutrition, food, and money. And at the end of this transit, you will be able to find the way to crack this. And the way to crack is going into the Rahu house, into the 8th house of other people. The moment you start accepting help from the other people, 8th house is also the other people, like 7th house is the other people, 8th house is the help to the 7th house. Okay, so the moment you start accepting and trusting people more, you will master the Ketu in the 7th house. Ketu in the Libra sign through the second house for Virgo. Let's talk about the Libra Ascendant. For Libra Ascendant, it is going through your first house. First house is the house of personality. And when it comes to personality, Ketu in the first house makes you work physically. It will make you work without taking care of your body. You might feel, you might bring in some pain into your physical body. When I say pain, it's like, let's say if you're working for 4 days without even sleep, it is going to bring in some toll on your body, right? So headless Ketu into the house of head, it will make you blind. It will make you work blindly. When I say blind, it will make you work towards certain goals for social security without stopping. This position is similar to Ketu in the 6th house or the second house to some extent, but yes, Ketu in the first house will always make you work. Scorpio Ascendant, Ketu into the 12th house and Rahu into the 6th house. Ketu is the planet of moksha, 12th house is the house of moksha. So the Libra Ketu into the 12th house for Scorpio Ascendant, Scorpio Moon will make you evaluate your spiritual progress, will make you indulge into some of the abstract things, and it will also make you work on the foreign projects. But at the same time, you will be inclined towards some of the spiritual practices. And the way to look at this 12th house and balance the 12th house, you have to go into the 6th house wherein you have to be organized. You have to be practical. You cannot always be spiritual and live your life. You have to come into the earth. You have to be grounded. You have to pay the bills. You have to take care of your family, right? So the Ketu in the 12th house will evaluate how I can fix this, how I can fix and evaluate the 12th house things in my life so that I can have more of it. The answer to it is go to the 6th house of Rahu, right? So the balance between the 6th and the 12th is the key for the Scorpio Ascendant, Scorpio moon. Let's talk about the Sagittarius moon, Sagittarius Ascendant. For Sagittarius, it is going into the 11th house. Sagittarius moon, Sagittarius Ascendant, Ketu is going through the 11th house. 11th house is the house of desires. Ketu is the planet of moksha, is the planet which is about giving up. You know, he is not connected with, is a disconnected planet. And now it comes into this house of desires, house of dreams, and in the sign of Libra, which is all about your desires. So when Ketu is in the 11th house in Libra, it shows one has to evaluate their self-expression and their connection with the larger social groups. And the key here is to work on the self. The moment you will work on the self, whatever you will do into or invest into yourself, that will echo into the society, right? That's what the 5th and 11th house axis is. So don't cling to the 11th house, work on the 5th house and your 11th house will be taken care of. Capricorn Ascendant. For Capricorn Ascendant, it is going into the 10th house. Ketu in the Libra is going into the 10th house, and the challenge with this is you will always get an opportunity to work. This transit will keep you busy all the time, but to do things and be happy, you have to work on your emotions. So for this ascendant, again, you have to work on 4-10 axis. Okay, Ketu is the planet which is blind and is in the sign of Libra in the 10th house of work. Ketu loves to work, right? He doesn't care about himself. He is a satisfied spiritual planet who likes to work. And in the 10th house, he gets the opportunity to work. But the problem here is he doesn't feel good about the work he does because he's never satisfied. Ketu is a planet which is always unsatisfied because of its absolute nature. So he thinks that I should be the best. I should always keep improving myself. And that's what really makes him feel sad about things he's doing. So he has to work on the feeling part of it rather than doing part of it. He has to do things which makes him feel good. Okay, but no matter what the journey is, this placement will always keep you busy in life. Aquarius Ascendant. For Aquarius Ascendant, this Libra sign goes into the 9th house, and 9th house is the house of higher belief. Now here, Ketu in Libra in the 9th house will make you evaluate your belief system. And for that, you have to go into the 3rd house of self-effort where Rahu is placed in. To fix the 9th house, the Ketu in Libra will evaluate what are the hurdles in your belief system. What are the hurdles in the things which you believe and which you think are complicated, or you believe and still not able to achieve. Go to the 3rd house Rahu. Now that Rahu will help you to establish your higher belief, will improve your higher belief with the self-effort. Okay, once you have a belief, you will have a better results. Now let's talk about the Pisces Ascendant. For Pisces Ascendant, Ketu goes into the sign of Libra in the 8th house. 8th house is the house of occult, mysticism. It's the house of it's the house of the 2nd from the 7th, which is the house of your partner's joint assets. It is also the house of sex. Now Ketu is a planet which is all about giving up. Not giving up is not the right word, but it is a disconnected spiritual planet. So the planet of disconnection and spirituality goes into the sign of Libra in the 8th house in occult. These people, for Pisces Ascendant, these people will always be thinking about the 8th house things. But to fix the 8th house things, they have to go to the 2nd house. They have to jump into the 2nd house of family responsibilities. They have to take the responsibility of their family. They have to work on their own needs. And the moment they start working on their 8th house will start improving. Okay. And Ketu Libra is the best time to evaluate all your desires and to get the fulfillment once you analyze it by going to the Rahu house. Okay. So yes, this was Ketu transit, as much as I could hold, grasp and share with you guys. If you want to learn Vedic astrology step by step, go to my website, join the live training, sending you tons of positive energy, sending you high vibrations. See you in the next videos. Love and peace. Namaste.